What's up, guys? It's Kara here, and I am so excited to do this video. I conned my beautiful sister Alyssa into doing this video with me, but in all seriousness, this is kind of a different style video for my channel. Alyssa recently submitted her transformation story to tigerfitness.com, and I'll actually link that below in the description box. You guys should go check it out. She wrote it. It's super funny. She's not used to being on camera, but that article totally shows her personality. Go check out that transformation. And that's kind of what I want to do today's video about, and I want to have Alyssa talk a little bit about her weight loss story and her transformation. And the reason why I think Alyssa's story is so great and why I really wanted her to talk about it on camera is because there's so much going on in the world right now, like with the stupid Biggest Loser show. I fucking hate that show. It ruins it, folks. Like, people are so used to, and we were just talking about this before the camera went on, people are so used to these ridiculous amounts of weight loss. Like, people want to lose like 10, 15 pounds in a week, otherwise they feel like they're failing. Like, I've had people say, like, I only lost 2 pounds this week. I'm like, why are you upset about
2 pounds
that?
is,
that's like,
if it's a real
perfect.
weight loss, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just feel like people are kind of like, because of social media and because of what we see on TV, people are given this wrong perception of what weight loss looks like and what it takes to get there. You know, and Alyssa, her journey started a long time ago, like 10 years ago she started, and she's maintained it and she's done it the old school, good old fashioned, hard fucking work. You know what I mean? Like, there was no shortcuts taken. You know what I mean?
No.
So, I mean, I just want to talk a little bit with her because I think her story will be really inspirational to you guys. I know a lot of people contact me about coaching who are not bikini competitors. Most people who contact me for coaching just want to lose weight and want to learn how to have a healthier relationship with food and are just ready to make a change. So I feel like Alyssa's story will really help you guys. So one of the first things, Alyssa, I was going to have you talk about is like when it all started growing up. Like, obviously some of this stuff I know, but like it's different coming from her because she's the one that experienced it. So like growing up, like what, you know, where did the weight problem start kind of thing, or where did it come from?
I think it really started when I did get held back in the 2nd grade.
Yeah.
Which I think it was just difficult for me to see the older kid or the kids that I went to class with move on.
Right.
And
because 2nd grade, you're like, how old? Like 8 or something?
8 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know if, like, I didn't put this in my story or whatever, but
yeah,
I don't know if you remember, like, when I was a kid, I definitely had depression issues, I think.
Yeah.
And it was something like when you're 8 years old, and when I was 8 years old, being that young, I don't think people knew about kids being depressed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so when I got...
Well, definitely not talked about where we grew up either, in a very small town, but even now and today in 2016, depression's just like mental illness or depression or any of that stuff is kind of still frowned upon. Like, people don't want to...
Right, especially
with,
like, kids.
With kids,
you think, like... I don't know, I think, like, when people are depressed, it's because they've had something happen to them, or,
right,
you know, not just, like, you're an 8-year-old kid and you don't feel right.
Yeah.
So I think with, like, getting held back in 2nd grade, that really kind of, like, you know, messed with maybe my self-esteem, and, I don't know, I think I just turned to food for comfort.
Right.
And, what I was going to say was, like, I also used to pull out my eyelash and eyebrows or whatever. Like, that, like, looking back on that, I think that was a huge red flag that, like, I had something internally wrong with me or
like
whatever.
Something was bothering you.
And that coincided with the same time with me gaining weight.
Right.
So, but it, like, I really started to, like, plump up in the 3rd grade. And I was just telling this to my husband or whatever, Justin. And, so when I got into 3rd grade, it was, like, the 4th graders. So we were all in the same wing.
Right.
So it's like I had to see those kids that I went to school with in 2nd grade.
Right.
And that's when, like, I really started to gain weight. And I really just think it, like, I don't know why, you know, but...
But that kind of makes sense, though, because I feel like as a kid, you don't have the coping mechanisms yet.
Right.
How to deal with that stuff.
Right.
I mean, shit, even now I feel like I should have the coping mechanisms, and sometimes I don't for certain situations.
Also,
but you don't know like what to do with that.
Right. In the 80s, when like we grew up, like too, I feel like it was like processed food was like huge then.
Oh yeah.
Snack cakes, all that kind of stuff. And like our house always,
that's all we had.
We had access to that all the time. So
we didn't, and it's not like blaming our parents or anything, but truly like there was a lot of food we were not exposed to growing up.
Right.
I feel like.
Right.
I didn't even know what an avocado was until I went to college.
No.
Until I was 18 years old.
No.
You know what I mean? We did. We had fast food a lot, and a lot of the little snacky cakes around.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, a good day for me in school was when I had those little Debbie cakes.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, this is a good fucking day. Especially when it's like around Valentine's Day and the cakes come with 2 cakes. I was like, that was a good day for me.
The little hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it started really young for you.
Yeah.
And, you know, lasted, I mean, until adulthood. It was something you struggled with all through adolescence.
It's a cycle. So it's like, you're little, I didn't feel right, I ate for comfort, and then you start to get older, and, like, you start to see that being the bigger kid isn't accepted as much,
right.
And that, like, when you start to, like, become a woman or whatever, you know, you want to feel pretty, and I didn't, and so I covered myself up a lot, which just made me feel worse, and it was just kind of like a cycle.
A lot of baggy clothes and stuff like that,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Alyssa mentioned in her article a bit, too, like, even kids she thought were your friends were teasing you.
Right.
And I know, like, I've told Alyssa, I didn't really understand it, not that it's acceptable, but being her younger sister, being the bratty younger sister, like, we picked on each other, and, like, that was... It's shitty, but that was my defense against her. And, like, it breaks my heart to think back to those times, but, like, that's...
Yeah, but I use things against you, too, so it's fine, you know what I mean?
Billy Goat. Yeah, you do that when you're kids, and, but you don't realize how much it really scars people, and, I mean, shit, it scarred me. Like, I ended up working at a weight loss camp and having a breakdown and, like, emailing you that I was like, oh my God, like, till I worked with those kids and saw how impacted they were and the struggles they had mentally, and you know, it's just crazy. You don't think about it, and I just bring that up for people watching this, just to think about how you're judging people and the things you say to people. And I think it's just a good reminder to be kind and be respectful to people. And you know, you never know. I remember being in high school and thinking it was cool to like make fun of people if you got a laugh out of it.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And I'm not saying I'm perfect and don't ever like poke fun at people, but like, you know, just
we all have our judgy times, but
really...
I think a little bit of kindness, especially when you see that someone obviously has some sort of struggle, like it can go so far for that person,
right?
You know, doing what I do, massage, like I run into a lot of people, and I just remember I had this client one time, and she was a nurse, and you know, she was just asking me like, how do you touch fat people? Aren't you disgusted? Like, not knowing everything. Like, she doesn't know my history and everything. And I just thought, you are in the wrong profession.
Right.
Like, you have to deal with people who come from all walks of life. And you have no, like, you know, empathy or whatever, or sympathy or whatever for these people, because you've never had that struggle. So it's like, you don't know. So I don't know, just taking a step back and like, you know,
thinking you never know someone's situation, or like a lot of people looking at Alyssa have no idea where she once was in her life and how long she was in that period of her life. And it was something you didn't even openly want to share with people until recently, when you decided you really kind of wanted to like put it out there. You know, you almost kind of didn't want to
like most people at work don't know, like, you know, when I started my job or whatever, I was like during my weight loss time or whatever, but I still had lost like 50 pounds when I got there. I've lost like a total of 80 or whatever, but so, you know, most of the people at work don't even know. And like, even my husband read my transformation story, and he was like, yeah, but you don't carry this stuff around with you, like, you know, like, you don't think about this stuff. And I'm like, absolutely I do. You know, it was most of my life.
Right.
You know?
It'll
like, 10 years is a long time, but it's still not the majority of my life. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Right.
Yeah, I still think about it. And it's something that, like, you know, it sometimes makes me sad, but it's usually what motivates me to keep going and trying to eat healthy and go to the gym. And, like, I also have, like, you know, you who's, like, been a huge support for me, and, you know, mom and dad have been a huge support for me. So it's, like, you know, when you have that motivation or whatever.
Yeah, definitely helps to have those supports in your life.
Right.
Now, you did try... It's not like you one day decided you wanted to lose weight and off you went and you've been successful ever since. You did have times before that you tried and struggled. Tell me, like, a little bit about that, like some of the times you tried and weren't successful.
Well, in high school, we went to that gym together.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
Yes. Yep.
Downtown. And in high school, I think I did, like, at one point, like, you know, I was a little more active and everything, but I didn't really... I don't know. I don't even feel like I knew what eating healthy ever was. I was vegetarian in high school, but I still felt like I ate. Just because you're vegetarian doesn't mean you're eating vegetables. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like,
chicken patties with loads of mayo.
Chicken patties and cheese. Potato chips are, you know, vegetarian. Yeah. So you can eat a lot of bullshit or whatever. Right. But going to that gym in high school, I mean, but we would sit in the car and smoke a couple cigarettes before and after, so that's not very healthy. Yep. But I think I lost like 20 pounds in high school, but I always put it back on. Yeah. And then moving, you know, to Plattsburgh and going to college, I was out on my own, so I could eat as much food as I wanted to. So, you know, but I remember...
You did the Atkins diet, right, for a period of time?
Yep, when I was going to SUNY Canton, I did try Atkins for a while. And, you know, I think I lost at one point 30 pounds with that. And I had a gym membership, so I would go to the gym. But it was never, like, a consistent thing. Like, I always would go off the diet and...
Right. So it didn't become a lifestyle change for you yet.
Right. It still hadn't clicked in my head, like, how to do it, I guess. Right.
So what finally motivated you then? It was about 10 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. What do you think finally, for people out there who are sitting watching this going, you know, I recognize all that, the attempts and not being successful. What clicked with you this time that you think really helped keep you successful? Because we're talking 10 years ago, and it's funny because me and Alyssa were talking about the fact that 10 years ago, you didn't have all the Fitspo on social media, and you didn't have YouTube then. Actually, YouTube might be 10 years old. I can't remember. Husband's nodding yes. He's on the floor. But you didn't have access to that kind of, like, inspiration and motivation. I feel like a lot of people, I think that's what's great about like Instagram and social media, is people have these role models they look up to, and they look to their page daily to get them to the gym and things like that. That wasn't around 10 years ago. Like, that didn't exist. Right. You know, you didn't hear or see all these transformation stories back then, you know. So for you at that point in time, like what clicked for you, or what made you say, I'm done with this lifestyle?
I don't know exactly, like, how it became, like, ingrained in my head, or that this is what I'm going to do from now on, or whatever. Like, I probably still was, like, not sure if it was ever going to work out, kind of thing. Right. But, you know, going to massage school and like, that was the first time I went to, like, I'd been to college before and everything, and didn't do well. You know? Yeah. But, like, when I went to massage school, I still struggled. I felt it was very difficult. Yeah. But I worked my ass off. Yep. And, like, so I felt accomplished from that. Right. And doing massage, I feel, is a physical job. And...
Yeah, it is. You're using your whole body in that.
Yeah. And, like, I wanted... You know, when I think of massage, I still think, like, you're in a health field. And, like, definitely, that you're telling people to stretch and do these things, you know, if I'm overweight and, like, eating fast food and smoking and doing whatever, like, I just feel like I'm not practicing kind of, like, what I'm supposed to be preaching. Right. So I didn't want to be overweight in doing this job or whatever. Yeah. Like, I felt like I needed to make a change I guess.
Yeah.
And so, I just got that gym membership, and I think, with your help and everything with the dietary changes, I remember being at your apartment eating like a big taco salad or whatever, and learning that I really loved
you
salads.
love vegetables.
Yeah,
that was the one great thing. And I see that with a lot of people that want to lose weight. If you love a lot of different food, that's not a bad thing. That's a really
I think
good
that
thing.
really helps. Yeah, because I do know people that are like, oh, I don't like
vegetables. I don't like
broccoli, and I don't like this and that. And I think that does make it difficult when you don't like a lot of foods. And I really don't have,
You like.
I like it.
Yeah,
all.
you like a lot of healthy food.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know. I just started, and I slowly start losing weight. And, when you just start seeing the pounds drop. And then it was, once I really got past, that 30-pound mark, I think that really motivated me.
Yeah.
And I think that's when
you started believing, I can really do this.
And, being very consistent with the working out. And then us, running together and stuff like that. Doing something that I never thought I could do.
Right.
And then I'm doing it. It was, it's just motivating to keep going.
Yeah.
And to keep going.
Right.
And
what were some of the changes to your diet? What was the biggest changes you made with your dietary intake when you first started out?
When I was in massage school, so I was very busy and everything, so I did eat, I remember, a lot of fast food. It was never I don't feel like I was ever a huge fast food person before because I was vegetarian for so long.
Right.
But massage school, I was definitely going through the Burger King.
Well, because you were in massage school full-time.
Full-time.
And then working on top of it.
Yeah.
Were you working more than one job at some points, too, or?
For a very short period of time, I was.
American Eagle, one day.
Right. No, it was 2 weeks, but
whatever.
But I walked out,
close. Yeah.
But yeah, so then, you had to do clinics and stuff like that, and so it took up free time, but... So it's just very busy. Not that gives you an excuse to not...
But it's very common. Yeah. That's the common thing. I'm really busy. I don't have the time. Fast food's quick and convenient. Yep.
Right. And 10 years ago, I feel like there wasn't that much of a health food push. Now, when you go to places, even you can go to Burger King and get a grilled chicken salad. At least there's more options. I feel like... maybe it's just because I wasn't looking for them back then, but I don't feel like they were as,
I agree.
there.
I agree. I think there's more fatty or crazy options, like donut burgers and shit, but then there's also more healthy options that you can find just about anywhere you go.
Right. What was the question?
So you went from eating fast food to...
Oh, yeah.
You started doing more lower fat dieting, or...
Yeah, it was basically lower fat. I've never really tracked my food consistently. So even during that period of time, I never watched my calorie intake.
It's not like MyFitnessPal was around then.
And so I just remember eating a lot of I really kind of took things that I really liked.
Yeah.
And tried to lower the fat to them.
Yeah.
So I would bake chicken all the time, with tomato sauce and a low-fat cheese. And I ate a lot of yogurt, a lot of salads, stuff like that. So it was still eating stuff that I really enjoyed. It was just, I was making sure it was a lower-fat option.
Right.
And I definitely, looking back too, is my portion sizes were controlled more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I was a lot more mindful that I was trying to lose weight and stuff like that. So I definitely was watching, but it was never I can only have this much food today. I was never like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that Alyssa did that not a lot of people do when they're starting their journey, but I do recommend, she didn't just start dieting. You started in with the diet and exercise. And some people just hate exercise and just want to do the diet, or vice versa. I'm a firm believer you need to have both. And in the initial stages of weight loss, diet is the key. Diet is what's going to yield your results mostly. But the exercise is what helps with the maintenance part, which, you mentioned in your article, but that can be the bigger challenge, is actually maintaining it for most of us. Weight loss sometimes is actually the easier part. But you developed this love for exercise, you know, which I thought she had within her, and I used to nag her to go to the gym with me, and it'd be like, shut up, Kara, I'm not going. Like, she'd get so pissed at me, you know, because I was that naggy little sister that wanted her to go to the gym with me. But I had to wait till she was ready, but it was awesome because I loved, like, helping you get into running, and, like, she developed this love for running, and she runs still, and now I kind of don't, but, you know, you still have that love for working out, and that's just... It's so important to, like, find what you love within exercise and finding something that kind of keeps you motivated to keep going. And, like, you found it, and that, I think, helped you kind of keep going with it, too.
Right. Yeah, like, you don't have to do something that physically hurts you. There's so many different kinds of, like, exercise just to, like, get you moving and stuff like that. Like, I feel like anybody can find something that they like to do, you know?
I know people make fun of, like, Zumba and stuff, but, I mean, I think it's such a good starting point for a lot of women too, who like to dance and move and not be judged or not intimidated maybe by, like, a weight room in the gym atmosphere. Sometimes that's a good place to start. So I guess my point is you just have to find what you love and, you know, what works best for you. What did you have any major challenges that stand out over the past 10 years or in your initial couple of years of, like, losing weight and getting to, like, your goal weight? Was there anything major? I mean,
nothing. I don't think anything super major.
Yeah.
I think, you know, once kind of, like, my weight loss stopped or whatever, it was like, I was like, kind of want to be skinnier though.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like, but I don't really want to eat any less. So just getting over that fact that this is my body and this is the way it's gonna be, and unless I take extreme measures to start to really change that this is my body, and so I just have to kind of, like, be okay with that, which I am. You know,
I do remember throughout you would you had some times where, like, the weight loss would plateau a little bit, because I remember you coming to me, and, you know, I think we talked about some tweaks with your diet, but I think sometimes, too, you were at that stage where you went from, like, not exercising. Not that you had never exercised, but you went from never exercising to starting to exercise. So you were able to kind of tweak your exercise, increase the intensity, increase how many times you went. I think many people think when they start working out, in order to lose weight and maintain it, they have to go to the gym 6-7 days a week and work out for 2 hours. Like, don't do that. You're probably going to fall off the plan. You know, that's not what you did. You started slow, and you really, like, slowly built your way up. You know, and that speaks to having a realistic mindset about how to go about losing weight and maintaining it. And you have to be patient. And y'all aren't patient. Like, no one's patient out there anymore. Like, even the people that email me, it's like, when we work together for 8 to 12 weeks, I'll be honest, I'm going to help you as best as I can. But I can't change your life in 12 weeks. Like, only you can do that, and I'll help give you the tools, but it's a whole long continuum. It's a whole long process, and you have to just kind of keep tweaking and try to be patient and not get frustrated, you know? So I think
it's one of those things where it's like, people can help you, but it's on your own. It's your job to do it. Like, nobody can make you move at the gym. Nobody can, you know, take that. Well, people can take a fork out of your hand, I guess, but nobody can be with you 24 hours of the day and tell you when you can eat and when you can't eat, what you can eat. You know, so it's a struggle that you have to do on your own. You know?
Yeah, I hear that a lot. Just being a dietitian, a lot of people think, like, oh, well, you're a dietitian, you can help them, and it's like, no, even in a hospital setting, when patients don't want to eat, the opposite spectrum, I can't force someone to eat the way I can't force you to not eat. That comes from within. Like, that person has to be willing to do that, you know? For those watching, what advice would you give to people who are maybe sitting here watching this video, kind of relating to some of the stuff you've talked about? What advice would you give people who are out there frustrated, maybe yo-yo dieting, and just not sure what to do? You know, where to get started?
That's hard. You know, I guess, I don't know. I mean, people have emailed me over the years, and, like, people that I went to high school with and stuff, and they're like,
it's funny how many people start talking to you after high school, huh? After you lose weight.
You know, and people want this magic answer, I feel like, you know, and it's just, it's not there. It's just, I guess, you have to be ready for it, you know, and you have to like really want to make that change. So you have to be able to accept that things are going to change. You aren't going to be able to eat whatever you want, whenever you want, and you have to be okay with that. And so I feel like something upstairs has to click for you, you know, and if exercise isn't your thing, you know, at least try to walk or do something like move yoga or something, you know. I think you just have to find something, because I really feel like for me personally, like working out really also kept my diet in check, like you know, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice, because I really do think when you look at the world and the statistics of obesity, it's not an educational issue. The smartest, most successful people in the world tend to be the most obese people. It's not a lack of understanding or education. It's within. Right. You know, it's something up there that you have to be ready for it, and you have to be okay with those things. Like you said, it's you can't look at it as like, oh my God, I can never eat cake again. Oh my God. You know, you have to kind of play the mind games a bit. Right. You know, and say, no, I can eventually maybe have cake someday, but right now that's not part of my plan. That's not going to get me to my goal. Right. And focus on that. Right. You know, and it's hard to not get overwhelmed by that, I'm sure, but
I think it is the hardest in the beginning, because you feel so bad about yourself. Right. You know, and you just want to see the change right away. And you probably, if you stick with it, you probably won't see changes for, you know, a few months or whatever. Right. You know.
Well, and how long did it take you, Alyssa, to get to your goal weight, your maintainable weight? That
it took like a year and a half. Yeah. You know, and I know some people, like I see like on Instagram and whatever, people like losing 70 pounds in like 4 months or something like that. Right. That were like around my weight, you know. Right. And I'm just like, how are you doing that? Because that's pretty intense, you know, like that's like very portioned meals, like I'm not good with being hungry. Like, if I'm going to eat, I want to eat, and I want to feel, like, satisfied and full, which just means I probably have to eat more vegetables and stuff like that. There's ways to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you've learned those tricks. Right. And you kind of have to. You have to learn the ways to make those changes but not feel so restricted still. Right. I mean, it's kind of what I do during prep, but I think it's, you know, a different mindset though when you're trying to make those changes for long term. Right. You know, it can be difficult. But I think that's good advice. Anything else that you can think of that I didn't touch upon? Oh, no. I mean, this girl's now ran 2 marathons. Three marathons. I don't even know how many I've ran, so I lose track. A million. 3 marathons. She's a badass bitch in the gym. She lifts weights. She's got some awesome delt action going on.
I do. I like my delts. Working on the glutes.
Working on building the booty.
Slow progression there.
But honestly, it's really, like, it's pretty incredible what she's done and how long she's maintained it. And I think that can be the most challenging part. And like I said, she did it the good old-fashioned way. And, you know, most of her life she was overweight. And you, like, kind of accepted, like, this is who I am. I'm gonna own it in this big-ass hoodie and some Joinko jeans. What are those called?
Janko jeans.
Janko jeans. The bottoms were this big. So it was like disgusting. An elephant's foot. And they're all dirty on the bottom.
Granted,
okay,
like,
they were in at the time.
They were cool shit then.
That's because we hung out with, like, the punk rockers. Yeah. So I don't know if everyone else thought they were so cool.
Probably not.
We thought they were cool. But we're pretty cool.
Jason's shaking his head now that we're not cool.
So I hope you guys found this video helpful. I want to thank my sister for, you know, having the cojones to film this video with me. I know it took a lot to kind of come out and talk about your story, and you guys make sure to check out her article because there's a lot of good information in there that we didn't necessarily touch upon in this video, so check that out. Yeah, and I think you guys should share this with others because I think a lot of other people out there need to hear this, need to hear people doing it the right way, hearing what it takes. It takes a lot of freaking work, as Alyssa mentioned, and you just have to, like, stick it through, right?
Definitely stick it through.
Stick it right through there. yeah, so that's it, guys. Please hit the like button if you liked it, and I just want to say again, I love my sister so much.
Aww.
She's so beautiful, and she's always been beautiful.
Aww.
And she's so strong now. She has big muscles.
Can't see it through here.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace out. Wait, hit him with a flex. Of making a bodybuilder popcorn chicken. So this is going to be very basic ingredients that are healthy and are going to fuel you properly throughout the day. So with Carb 10, you guys have probably watched Mark's video on it. If you haven't, you can look back through Tiger Fitness and check that out. But with Carb 10, one of the great things about it is that it does not give you that huge insulin spike that can occur after you consume carbohydrates. Now, not all carbohydrates are